Bryce? Ted? Go for it.
They're mine. My panties.
Welcome, fellow Kiss fans. Welcome to It's All For You Demons, celebrating the fun of being a Kiss fan. And today, we're going to talk collecting and kind of the other side of the coin of collecting. The other side of the coin of collecting, we all know, Aucoin era collecting. That's what you look for. That's what drives the big bucks. That is the game that the big boys play. But there's also a fun side, the other side of that collecting coin, and that is non-Aucoin era 1980s junk. And that is what we are going to celebrate today as we look at the 1980s and the Kiss fun that could be had with non-Aucoin era stuff. Junk. Danny and I became more serious about collecting Kiss around 1993, and it was because of the release of this book by Karen and John Lesniewski. And this is a first pressing, and it has seen far better days. All of the color inserts of my book have fallen out. A lot of the fun of this book was, of course, the Aucoin era stuff that we longed to own one day, but also it featured non-Aucoin era stuff. In 1993, pre-internet, simply just going to shops, that seemed more attainable. And there was a wonderful shop in Overland Park, Kansas, that Danny and I would frequent called Xanadu.
At Xanadu, we have posters, rock, girls, movies and stars, rocks, animals, kids, and cars, and wild art such as Matthews, beans, and others. Over 3,000 to choose from. Colorful tapestries, we have them all. Over 100 on display. We feature the largest selection of t-shirts in the Kansas City area. Rock, new wave, hardcore, bikers, and tie-dye. Also buttons, patches, hats, jewelry, and many collectibles. Always new and exciting merchandise arriving weekly. Xanadu, if we don't have it, nobody does.
And I've done a story on this button before. This was like the first piece of wearable Kiss merchandise I ever purchased. In 1993, Danny and I were both working at Bonanza. Funds were tight, and when you went to head shops like this to look for Kiss merchandise, things weren't as expensive as today, but you still didn't have a lot of money to spend. So you gravitated towards items like this. When I think of Xanadu, I think of these kind of buttons, these square buttons that came out in the 80s, unofficial, but just so much fun. In a way, it's them not being official that makes them so much fun. They almost have like a bootleggish quality to them. Like this one, for example, you can clearly see that Kiss logo is a cutout font. Like Photoshop wasn't even around when these buttons were made. This is all scissor, paper, DIY, punk rock creations of buttons, and I think that's what makes this so much fun. It was like you bought these buttons for like $1, you put them on your jean jacket, and you proclaimed to the world your allegiance to this band. And not only with buttons, but with patches. I always loved there was, that one or two guys in your school that had a jean jacket covered in every metal band patch that existed, and including those wonderful huge back patches. The fun of 80s non-Aucoin era stuff. And for our final two topics tonight, smashes, thrashes, and hits, and hot in the shade, one being this absolutely hideous smashes, thrashes, and hits keychain. The logo isn't even centered correctly. The hands are pretty shoddy, and so is the logo. But to me, this is something I would have had to have owned in 1993. I love smashes, thrashes, and hits. It taught me everything about this band. And being a young kid driving a car, you want a cool keychain, or at least you did in the 80s. And I would have worn this keychain so proudly. And thus when I saw this, I had to buy it. And there's also a Zippo lighter with the same design that is also gloriously, hideously delicious. And that, too, will one day make its way to the Smashes, Thrashes, and Hits shelf. And for our final piece of hideously fun junk, the Hot in the Shade panties. These were not sold in stores. These were only sold at the Hot in the Shade shows. These are fun. You saw them back then at the merch booth, and you kind of thought, what am I, a 16-year-old boy, going to do with a pair of woman's panties?
By the way, why are we wearing bras on our heads?
Ceremonial.
We, of course, at the time didn't have girlfriends, so you got no girl to wear these panties. And you just imagined, the kind of woman that's going to buy these at the show is probably a Lita Ford type woman. Party's hard, but looking back, some 31 years later, these are kind of a cool piece to own. These also came with white printing, which I've never seen. The front has the Hot in the Shade logo, and the back says, "Kiss this." And in 1990, when I was 16 years old, had I encountered a girl wearing these, I would have thought it was pretty hot. So, add them to the shelf, add them to the collection of hideously fun, non-Aucoin era junk. It's all fun, isn't it, Large Marge? She says, yes, it is. Thank you for hanging with us tonight. Thank you for waxing a little rock and roll nostalgia with us tonight as we talk some serious 1993 wax. Be good to your babies. Spay, neuter, microchip. Take care, be safe. We will talk to you soon.
Be